here as the WFP representative, and so that this is my last official meeting with the government and with the Vice President.
Malcolm also dwelt on his office operation in the country during his tenure of office.
When I arrived, we moved into a period of drought, and then we also had a period when there were very high prices, which was followed by the financial crisis in the globe. All of these were challenging events in the country. I must say that I was impressed. We worked very closely with the government in looking at how to deal with those, and I was impressed with the response in the Gambia. They were on top of these issues and responded very effectively, I think.
The Gambia, according to officials, has benefited a great deal from the World Food Programme during the tenure of its outgoing country representative in various sectors such as education, through its school feeding program, agriculture and disaster. But will his successor consolidate the gains registered by Malcolm? It's a matter of wait and see. Aissatou Badiane Sarr, GRTS.
The Public Accounts and Public Enterprises Committees of the National Assembly have summoned government departments, public corporations and private companies to the Assembly chambers to engage them in an effort to recover the debts they owe the National Water Electricity Company, NAWEC. The endeavor to recover the over $200 million debt comes as NAWEC struggles to sort out endemic problems attributed largely to soaring fuel prices. Mohamed Jallo reports.
Water and Electricity Company, NAWEC, has finally decided to take the bull by the horns by publishing all the names of its debtors, which includes government departments, parastatals, private companies, as well as individuals. The list contained in a press release sent to all media houses compels all its debtors to come face to face with members of the Public Accounts and Public Enterprises Committees of the National Assembly to discuss ways and means of settling the debts, which amounts over $218 million. The Brikama Area Council and Kanifi Municipal Council topped the list, with the former owing NAWEC over $47 million and the latter over $30 million. The PAG Joint Committee, according to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Abdoulaye Bojang, is mandated under the 1997 Constitution to help NAWEC and all other public companies recover debts owed to them.
It is the powers that we have been given by the Constitution of the Gambia, with the blessing of the government, that we have to use to call them, to say we have called you, to sit with us and discuss, to see how we can bail out NAWEC. And I am sure they will agree, they will cooperate, because we're not forcing them to give us something that is from their pockets, but what they owe a company like NAWEC.
Monday, July 11th is the D-Day, with the National Assembly summoning debtors to its chambers to discuss modalities of surmounting the debt crisis. The question NAWEC and many people will be asking is whether this will yield concrete results, as the debts have been accruing over a long period of time and the debtors ignoring calls to honor their financial obligations. But when asked whether the PAG committee will explore more stringent measures to compel the debtors to pay, Honorable Bojang was cautious, preaching dialogue first.
It's a two-way work for the National Assembly. The National Assembly needs to work with the community. The National Assembly needs to work with NAWEC as an institution. We will first of all work towards amicably solving a problem at hand, and that is helping to convince institutions to pay what they owe GAMTEL, so NAWEC, and in a negotiative way to see how we can amicably settle that problem. But we will also talk to NAWEC, and talking to NAWEC means saying, look, what you started is very encouraging towards reducing the rifts between you and agencies that may be of respect to you.
NAWEC has long complained of mounting debts out of it, and this desperate attempt to finally recover them comes at a time when the electricity and water giant is struggling to meet the demands of its consumers. The soaring prices of fuel on the international market has not helped either, with NAWEC spending millions of dollars on fuel alone. The recovery of these debts may not solve all its problems, but it will go a long way in improving services. After all, no energy company doles out free electricity and water to supposedly wealthy parastatals or private companies. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS.
Well, GRTS has learned that the proposed meeting between NAWEC and its debtors has been postponed till further notice. Well, we'll go for a short break. The news continues right after. Welcome back. After months of bitter political wrangling and anarchy in the Ivory Coast, the Alassane Ouattara government has come up with a six-month roadmap for the conflict-ready nation. But the cockroach country is facing the uphill task of addressing the high level of unemployment among young people, insecurity, and a badly hit infrastructure. As we hear in this report, Ivory Coast needs billions of dollars to stand on its feet.
He completed the president's request and announced it Wednesday at the end of the government seminar in Abidjan.
There's a lot to do. Major challenges include unemployment for young people, insecurity, education, and other sectors. We must intervene on several fronts at the same time and urgently.
The Ivorian economy is slowly evolving after months of an unprecedented political and military crisis. The 2 weeks of war which led to the fall of the former regime put an end to the immediate crisis, but residents of Abidjan all suffered from pillaging. Overall losses from the war are estimated to be between 1 and 1.5 billion euros. The entire economy of Côte d'Ivoire needs to be restarted, beginning with basic infrastructure.
The past 10 years of crises has led to a very worrying situation for almost all of the infrastructure. The first concern is putting the infrastructure back on track.
The new Ivorian regime says it will need between 15 and 20 billion euros over the next few years. It is counting on the state budget, but also on the support of donors. For the moment, an emergency presidential program worth 45 billion CFA francs is being tapped into to cover basic needs of Ivorians who are heavily hit by the crisis.
If security returns and people's belongings are protected, then we think the country will get back on its feet and progress will be made.
Ivorian companies which are trying to get back to business say security is one of their greatest concerns. The Ivorian government is trying to quickly satisfy their security needs across the country.
Spanish authorities have intercepted a boat ferrying sub-Saharan immigrants, including children and women, and the son of the Senegalese President Karim Wade has denied reports that he has called an unofficial advisor to President Sarkozy for French military intervention during recent riots in Senegal. We have details of these and other stories in this roundup of African news.
Spanish Coast Guards intercepted a boat carrying clandestine immigrants on Wednesday night. Several women and 5 children were amongst the passengers. The migrants, all of whom are from sub-Saharan Africa, were taken to the southern Spanish port of Almeria. Senegalese President Abdoulaye Wade appears increasingly isolated. Last week, during demonstrations against electric power cuts in Dakar, the president's son, Karim Wade, reportedly called an unofficial advisor of the French president for help. Reports say he asked that the French military intervene to put an end to the rioting. The Senegalese president's office denies the report, but President Sarkozy's advisor said he did receive a call. France appears to be taking a distance from the Wade clan and has warned against trying to maintain power at all costs. Colonel Moussa Keita, a former member of Guinea's military junta, is reportedly being detained in a secret location. Human rights groups on Thursday slammed what they termed the illegal arrest of Keita, who, according to family members, was picked up by people in civilian clothing in Conakry 9 days ago. Chadian President Idriss Déby is on a visit to Benin aimed at tightening cooperation between the two countries. Déby visited the port of Cotonou, a port of transit for merchandise to and from Chad. The Chadian president was warmly greeted by Benin's President Yayi Boni. Déby saluted the strong ties that have linked N'Djamena and Cotonou for the past 50 years.
Before we end this edition of the news, a recap of our headline-making stories. 141 women with fertility problems have received treatment for their conditions courtesy of President Jammeh. The World Food Programme country representative has